Thank you for tuning into episode 239 of This Week in Real Estate, the T-Wire podcast, broadcast live Wednesday, July 12th, 2023. Unraveling housing, one thread at a time. This episode was brought to you by listeners and viewers just like you. I don't have a Patreon or any way for you to send me any money or to donate to help support the show. So you can support the show most by just hitting the share button and sending it to someone else that you think might get an advantage out of listening to this show. And of course, if you're watching on YouTube, you can comment on YouTube and then we could display your comment and we can talk about you or your comment. Just like Matt Lamarche, he was first today. He says, hi, welcome Matt. Mike is here. What's up, Mike? Julie Moon is here. Howard Harrell Broadsley is here watching from Israel. So making our show worldwide. And you can also comment if you're watching on Facebook and LinkedIn. We can also display those comments as well. Please be sure to subscribe, hit the bell, share the show to other people who may be interested. And if you're on Clubhouse, you can actually join the conversation. So we'll be bringing up audio from Clubhouse every now and then. Matt Lamarche, he's there too. What's up, Matt? But this podcast was created so that you would have one place to go for a succinct professional analysis of everything that's happening in real estate from actual professionals who are practicing in the field. So no bloviating heads that are not actual practitioners. So thank you guys for tuning in and for joining us today. I have a very special guest today. There's a little bit of Texas news in our rundown today. And when I saw the Texas news, I decided immediately that there's one agent I needed to call, probably the best agent in all of Dallas. And he wasn't available. So I got Jay Marks instead. What's up, Jay? Yay!
I'm glad the other guy wasn't available. That's wonderful. Good job.
That's my favorite comment ever, Jay. I think you introduced me to that kind of sleight of hand, like compliment / back. And so I actually referred some clients to Jay. And he was like, hey, if you like the business I did, would you write a review? And I put that in the review. I was like, there's only one agent, or I can't remember exactly what I said, but it was something like, I love, sending my clients to the best agent. And when they're not available, I use Jay Marks. And then I said, JK, yeah. Jay's one of the best.
Yeah, it's like, brava.
So it's pretty awesome. Well, Jay, thanks for joining me today, man. I really appreciate you being here.
I promised not to bloviate, and I hope that I'm expert enough for you for all the topics today. So yeah,
you are definitely an expert enough. I love your setup too. Your studio looks awesome. You've been working on that for like a year, right?
Yeah, I have my dad's flag behind me, some Star Wars stuff, some books, and some fun lights. I wanted a space where I can come in here and just be creative and also have fun. I've got some family pictures over on that wall, and I have cool. I have a stuffed barracuda on the wall too that I took out of a client's house.
Wait, it's a taxidermy barracuda, or is it like a stuffed plush barracuda?
Straight up taxidermist.
Oh, okay, taxidermy. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, when a fish does that, the only thing they really get out of the fish is the teeth. Everything else rots pretty quick. Yeah. So I got this barracuda that a client gave me, and it was a tough sale, and I told him I needed something to remember him by, and he goes, here. Have
a barracuda. That's awesome.
Yeah, sometimes I keep mementos of my victories.
That's good. Hopefully I'll have one soon. Today, Jay, how long have you been in real estate?
30 years. This is my 30th year, 1993.
Well, you still would have gotten the talking down too that I got this morning.
Oh, good.
There was a lady that said, she was saying like, hey, this is what we're going to do. I was like, oh, okay, well, how does that work? Why? She was coming across very combative, and I was trying to be friendly. And I asked her a question about why they were doing that with their clients. We're under contract with them. And she said, quote, I've been in business 40 years and you're going to question me? I said, yep. Like, I'm no spring chicken. I've been in this business 17 years and I kind of know what's going on, right? I'm familiar with what I'm doing. I'm not totally absent-minded. I'm plugged in. I'm in on whatever the contract says and on all the latest education. I know what's happening. And so that was That was a real interesting. Have you been told that by someone that doesn't know how long you've been in business? Has somebody ever tried to pull the 20 years card and you're like, actually, I've been in there 30?
Yeah, I have. I have a young face, I'm told. I don't look like someone who's been in the business 3 decades. And so, yeah, I've had that before. I've also had just recently had a 22-year-old title rep employee tell me how something was going to happen. And so
Wow.
that was fun. Turns out she doesn't work there anymore. Anyway, cheers.
Cheers. Oh, it's been
No,
fun.
on a serious note, I have an idea on how you can turn that around. So when someone does that, they
Mhm.
say, "Look, I've been doing this for so long." The immediate thing you should do, in my mind, is say, "I'm glad you said that. Would you please do me a favor and teach me why you're doing that? I want to learn."
Yeah.
And although it's somewhat patronizing, it does give them an opportunity to tell you their why.
Yeah.
And once you know the why things are happening, I mean, it makes a big difference.
Yeah. Too bad they were just totally wrong in this case. But yes, I think in most
Yeah.
cases. You know what? Jim Rohn says that there's a lot of people in the business that say, hey, I've got 10 years of experience. But in reality, they have 1 year repeated 10 times. And I think that's part of the huge issue with their industry. And actually another reason why it kind of brings us full circle to why we're doing this show. Well, I really wanted to create a place where people can go and get better educated on what's happening in the industry. And that's why I do this. I mean, I don't make any money from it. And hopefully the news stories we cover and the articles that we have are relevant to the industry and help kind of, rising tide lifts all boats. We want to be educated and informed about what's going on. And you don't have to sit somewhere for 2 or 4 hours to figure this out. You don't have to do the research that I did in order to find all these articles. You just go to one place and say, okay, that's what's happening. Good. Then let's go.
Yeah. It's really cool. We had a lot of people join the industry in the last 5 years.
Yeah.
And would you agree that the market in the last 5 years was nothing like it was 17 years ago?
Yeah. Big time.
Yeah.
Big
I mean,
time.
you and I were both agents during the recession,
Mhm.
and then COVID was introduced a whole new style of real estate, and the low interest rates that were too low, too long introduced what people have now perceived as normal, when in reality, the last 30 years, I've seen 5.5, 6, 7, 8, 8,
Mhm.
7, 6, 5. That's where the real estate market normally swims. And it literally, we're having to remind people of what a real estate market
Yeah.
typically looks like.
I think a lot of agents on their continuing ed need to go to some kind of re-education of like, guys, this is what it used to be like. This is kind of
Mhm.
normal for everyone now.
Yeah.
Uh, well, thanks again for joining us. I'm going to dive into some of these stories, but first, I want to get your opinion on something because you
Yes.
have been in the business a long time.
Yes.
Have you seen this Threads thing?
Yes.
Are you on it?
Okay. Yeah, I am at
Are you
J Mark's
into
Real
it? Are
Estate.
you into it?
Okay, listen. I'm tipping my toe into it. I got to tell you. Would you like to hear something? Can I tell on myself about Threads?
Yeah.
Okay. True story. 1994. So I've been in business a long time. I was in a sales meeting, and there was a vendor in there talking about real estate websites. Real estate websites. I kid you not. I told her, I raised my hand. I said, "Do you really think this will work? Because newspapers is where we place our ads, and it works just fine." I remember arguing with this website vendor, and I'd like to show you what our newspaper looks like today.
Wow, that's a Dallas.
No, it's not Dallas, another newspaper I subscribe
Okay.
to. Yeah, I still read the paper
That's so
because
thin.
I'm old. But yeah, I mean, seriously, I mean, you get so much more reach. And so when I do see something new, I pay more attention to it than I used to. What I liked about Threads, Ray, I'll be honest, it was super easy. It's connected to my Instagram, and I
Yeah.
have some Instagram. I just share it there. So the way I look at it, it's a whole nother way to continue sharing our message and getting
Yeah.
the word out. Our clients deserve to have as many possible, but I will tell you this: I'm not a Twitter guy. I thought
Oh,
that
really?
platform, that platform got a little too angry for me. So we pulled from Twitter.
Yeah.
We're not going to participate on an angry platform.
I'm a little and I think listeners of the show know this. I'm a little trolly. I like to troll when people don't really recognize the troll. It's one of my favorite things is to troll someone and they don't really get the troll. Like the, lady that's like, I've done this for 40 years and you say, oh, will you teach me? It's kind of a troll without being a troll. I love doing that kind of stuff. And I've had some comments on posts that have reached millions of views, which is interesting because sometimes they're just like dumb throwaway comments, funny ha-has. And then it's like 1 million people have viewed your comment. I'm like, oh gosh. So I enjoy Twitter. Threads is interesting. We did a mastermind call on Threads yesterday, just about what people were learning and the experience. And I really think, like you said, it's another way to communicate and another way to get exposure. And some people say, well, is it going to last? You know, but is it going to be like Clubhouse, where Clubhouse had this huge boom and then it kind of pulled back to where you just have
Mhm.
the Clubhouse stalwarts like ourselves? I mean, we broadcast there every week.
Ray, we only have so much time in the day also.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
what I love about Threads is I can take what I have on Instagram and send it right down. And I've been kind of repurposing some old stuff on Instagram into Threads. So we'll see how it goes. I'm watching with optimism. You know,
Yeah.
I want it to work because I like it when a platform can help us help our customers.
Yeah. But so in order for it to help us help our customers, it does mean that we're selling on it. And that's
Yes.
like the antithesis of what everyone who's currently on Threads wants. But then CNBC just announced the other day that advertisers are really excited about Threads and all the new opportunities for them. So we'll see. We'll see if the advertisers kind of ruin it for everyone. But I wanted to mention it because our show title and the thumbnail is kind of a hearken, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
The other opinion I want to get, and then we're going to jump into these headlines real quick, but I also wanted to hear your opinion on AI art. So what this is for the audio listeners, I have a thumbnail that shows a sweater with kind of a house that's got like open windows and stuff kind of crocheted into, or knit into the sweater so you can see through it. And it's starting to unravel a little bit. And so our title is Unraveling the Housing Market One Thread at a Time. It kind of, we're playing on the threads thing that's currently happening. But this is, oops, I just, hang on, let me bring you back up, Jay. So that's AI generated art, right? Have you played with the AI art at all?
No.
Okay.
AI is not going to work. No one's going to use it.
No one's going to use it, just like websites, right, Jay?
No. No. I was actually wondering where you got that picture, and you just told me, yeah, I'm like, yeah, of course, Ray.
Yeah.
And I will tell you,
created it.
everyone, if you're watching, listening, if you want to know who's really in tune to new things, it's Ray Ellen here. I'd like to tell you that this Heil PL2 Tango mic and stand is all courtesy of Ray telling me what to buy. Ray gave me
It
a
does
list
sound
one
good.
time, and I went and bought everything on the list and set up my studio with it.
Yeah, the first I didn't know that, but the first thing I heard whenever you started talking, I was like, "Wow, Jay, you sound really good." And you're like, "Yeah, I bought what you told me to."
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
But no, so I felt like, I told someone like I made that with AI. It was art that I made, and they're like, "Well, I mean, generated." I was like,
Yeah.
No. It took probably 10 different revisions, and I had to change what I was saying. I think there's going to be an interesting relationship with AI art moving forward because it's not so random anymore. You really have to kind of give it some very specifics of what you're looking for, and it's a lot of trial and error. All right. So without further ado, let's get into the actual news. The first story that we have up, Jay, and I think you may say something different than what the Compass exec says, but mortgage rates, end of last week, did you see the number they hit?
Remind me.
7.22%.
Yeah, I thought it was like 7 1/8, but yeah.
Yeah, 7.22%. That's super high. So this article is on CNBC. It says the average rate on the popular 30-year fixed mortgage hit 7.22 on Thursday, according to the Mortgage News Daily. That's the highest point since early November. Mortgage rates follow loosely the yields on the 10-year Treasury, which we've talked about. Let me find the quote. All right, so here's a quote. Recent data indicated that nearly 82% of home shoppers report feeling locked in by their existing low-rate mortgage, while around 1 in 7 homeowners without a selling plan cited their current low rate as the reason for remaining on the sidelines. That's from Jake Zhu, an economist at Realtor.com. Is this the same thing that's happening in your market too, where you have a bunch of people that are just hanging on to their current home because the rates are so hot?
Absolutely. I've heard a lot of people say, Jay, I'm sitting at a 3.5% interest rate. Right now, I couldn't afford to live in my neighborhood. Jay, I don't qualify to buy where I live because my rates, and people took advantage of those low rates. But what I have learned, because we have 3 under contract, one coming soon right now here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area that we're doing right now, all 4 of these people have to move. So I have sold probably 1,000 homes in the 7% interest rate. You know, that whole market time, that's not a bad rate. It's not a great rate. But then minute it goes into 6.5, you see a refi boom. Or if we're in the high sixes, it gets into fives, see a refi boom. But that also spurs buyer activity. I think we're doing this again. Personally, I am not bothered by interest rates. I'm looking for people that have to sell, must sell. And if so, we try to get them the best option available. That's kind of how I look at it.
Christina Smallhorn joins us. She's a YouTuber extraordinaire.
Yeah.
She said
I
in
love
2003, the rate was 7.5%. And I thought I won the lottery that I was able to lock in at that rate. My home was 120,000 at the time.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I think that's what we're going to see a lot of. I was talking to one of my clients yesterday, and they said, "What do you know? Are we dumb for buying, or should we just wait?" And I said, "What are you going to wait on?" They said, "Well, maybe the rate will go down to 5.5."
But what happens, Ray, whenever all of a sudden the rates go to 5.5? What is everybody who's been on the sidelines going to do? It's going to be like the Oklahoma land run.
Yeah,
You know. By the
exactly.
way, fun fact: my family ran the Oklahoma land run, so real estate's been in my blood. Yep,
There you go.
since the late 1800s. So we don't use double barrel shotguns and horses anymore. All right.
Well, most of the time, only for agent training.
Yeah. What do you mean?
So yeah, that's exactly what I told them too. You know, once the rates go down to that 5.5%, all the buyers run in. What's that going to do to home prices? Boom, it's going to jack them up.
Mm-hmm.
But there's still an issue of affordability. So at 7% or 7.5%, you know, someone that could afford a $450,000 home last year is looking at a $300,000 home this year.
Yeah, so here's what I tell my team, that when the market's really bad, sometimes you got to drive a little further. Sometimes you got to take deals that you may not have time to take when the times are super good. But no matter the market, would you like to have my standard speech I've used for my 3 decades in real estate? Today it's going to be the Jay's 3 decade thoughts. Okay, you'll get a lot of those. So no matter the economy, everyone, every single day, people are born, they die, they get married, they get divorced, they graduate school, they get promoted, they get demoted, they lose their job, they get transferred, or they decide it's time to downsize. There's 10 reasons right there why people buy and sell real estate in all economies.
Yeah.
And whenever the market was really, really bad in the recession, you know who I cold called? I cold called banks. And then I went and booked appointments with credit officers of banks and with REO departments. And when I see things are rough financially out there, I go talk to divorce attorneys. I go and meet people in all fields, places, so that as the rates adjust, I could still provide value. And that's what I think real estate professionals should be doing. They should be able to handle this in all economies.
You could summarize that by saying real estate agents should work hard and be kind, right? Right, Jay? It's your favorite
there's
t-shirt.
a t-shirt for that. Yeah.
Jay's got an opinion on t-shirts too that maybe we'll avoid today, but
yeah. When you wear a t-shirt from the stage and you're in front of 3,000 people, I'm thinking you need to buy better clothes.
It's style. It's the style, Jay.
And then they wear a jacket over the t-shirt.
Yeah, a jacket over the t-shirt with really cool sneakers and
a baseball cap on backwards. Hey, bro, I'm going to
tell
you what you need to do to make your business great.
And tight pants.
Yeah. Oh gosh.
See,
I'm going to retire one of these days, and I'm just like, have all the t-shirt agents, guys. If you want a nicely dressed agent, call me.
If you want a well-dressed man, Jay Marks is your guy. Well, no matter how well-dressed you are, Jay, it seems like there's this reoccurring problem, because what you just said is what I've told my clients is that, hey, when it goes to 5.5%, because of the inventory issues, it looks like prices are still going to go up. But what we're seeing in the market is that prices are currently still going up. So what's the solve here? This report comes from Redfin. They have a pretty good, let me change the view. Sorry. There you go. You see it more. So this report comes to us from Redfin. It says that the housing market update, average U.S. home is selling above asking price for the first time in nearly a year. So again, we're above 100% list price to sell price ratio. almost every home is getting multiple offers and selling over asking price, said Portland, Oregon Redfin agent Jeremy Lucas. The lack of supply is making it feel almost like 2021 all over again. But higher rates mean bidding wars are happening more in the $500,000 range than the $700,000 range because people can afford less. I'm advising buyers to shop a little under their price range so that they can make a strong offer. Let me get to a couple of stats, and I want your take on this too, if you're seeing that kind of price fluctuation there. Where is I think this is the art. Yeah, graphs. All right, the median sell price. Let's see if I can, well, I'm just going to make it big screen. I'll put us at the bottom.
Go ahead. I don't have to be on there. Let's show everyone the data.
All right, so the median sell price is 0.3% year over year. 4-week rolling average, but it's still up to 383,800 from July 2nd. The median asking price is plus 1.1%. So the median sell price is down 0.3%, but the asking price, the list price to sell price, is up 1.1%. Home buyer payments 13% higher. This is the main cause of affordability issues. Is that although the prices are about the same, relatively unchanged from last year, your payment is up 13.6% for that same home. And this is what we were saying when we said the average, if you're looking for a $450,000 home, last year, you may be shopping for a $300,000 home this year. We've already seen the pending sales data last week. Let me get to where's the actual ratio? I think it's down here where you have the list to sell price ratio at 100%. Yeah, there it is. The average home sold for 100.1% of final list price. And you can see the difference in, so for audio listeners, the highest hump curve arc went up in 2022, about in February. It started skyrocketing to June, and then it started coming down towards the rest of the year. So right now, we're a gradual curve up, back up to 100.1%. But look how high it used to be. 102% last year, 102.5 to 102. So
right in the Dallas-Fort Worth market, I just pulled 100 random closings in the last 7 days. The lowest one was 77% of list price, but that was an anomaly. It was a house in the 45,000 range. The highest one was 126%, and honestly, it was one for it sold for 1.7 million. They were asking 1.6. But here's the deal. Wow. I was looking through all these. I saw 98, 97, 96, 103, 102, 101%. The average is 100.3% of list price here in the DFW market on this particular selection I just grabbed. I just grabbed a random selection from the entire MLS system. That's 18 counties. What I find interesting, Ray, is also some of these stats. What they don't include is, did they do a price reduction?
Yeah, that is an interesting point. Did they do a price reduction and then sell over list?
Right. And because, sometimes that matters. You ready for this? You want me to tell myself again?
Yeah.
Hi, welcome to Telling Yourself Wednesday. I'm Jay Martin. I had a listing expire last week.
Jay.
Dude, I've not had a listing expire in like 7-8 years. Yeah. And it was we had a disagreement on price, and it didn't work, and it didn't sell. And there was also a big highway nearby. It was interesting, beautiful house, but didn't sell. And they got a new agent on it, and I hope they're successful. And I actually told them it might need a fresh set of eyes. Yeah. But that one didn't sell, and there are more expireds than ever before.
Have you looked at properties in your area with price decreases to see if that number's gone up?
Yeah, there's in the last 7 days in the DFW market, there's 3,517 price decreases.
Wow.
All right.
I should do that somewhere. Here, I'll do this one.
I could do my own sound effects.
That's one of my favorites. Yeah, so
and 650 properties back on the market in the last 7 days. However, there's a couple ballsy sellers out there, 345 price increases. So I know.
Price increases.
Yeah. They're like,
damn
the torpedoes, raise the money.
Home's been on the market a year, so we need to take into account appreciation.
Yeah, exactly. You told me not to cuss on your show. Sorry about that.
That's all right.
Jay, do not cuss because we don't want to be rated
Yeah, you
explicit.
can't get explicit. I'm going to get to a couple of comments that we have. Julie Moon said, she said, I think it's just going to take some time to recalibrate people's expectations about what they can afford. Yeah. So the Compass CEO said that 7% is going to be the new normal. And it's just going to take time. That kind of echoes what they said too. I don't know if 7% is going to be the new normal. I do think it's going to get down into the sixes again. Matt Lamar said it's almost like there's a reason he's been in the business for 30 years. Yeah, because real estate, no one can really fire you.
Thanks, Matt.
Yeah, Jack Atteridge says, seeing holes in some price sectors where demand drops after absorption has been reached. Days on market equals price declines. Yeah.
Yeah, and also, you know what, man, do you know how many California buyers I've had in the last couple of years? It's at all times. I'm not kidding you. For the last 3 years, at all times, I'm working with someone moving from California. So I'm telling you, regardless of where you are in the United States, the political winds make a difference too.
Yeah, that is. We're getting a lot of that in Arkansas. Actually, we're getting a ton of West Coast people from Oregon, Washington, California. Tons of West Coast coming into Arkansas.
Yep.
I just did a little numbers crunch. 34.1% of homes that are currently on the market in Little Rock have had price decreases.
Yeah.
Now that sounds high, but I have to say, pre-Pandy levels, it was at 40%. So it's actually kind of low.
I think the thing is, though, think about it. Whenever you try to sell something, what do you always do? You want to try to get as much as you can, right? And we always try to, hey, you know what? I'm gonna sell this mouse. It's nice. It's squared away. Look at the sleek design. You know what? It didn't sell right away. I'll lower the price a little bit because you want to get it sold. People, and that's human nature. So I don't fault people for trying. So sometimes a price decrease is a result of someone just getting realistic, but they wanted to give it a shot.
Yeah. Black Knight also released some numbers. Let me display this article for us. It says Black Knight housing market reignites as home prices hit new record high in May. Inventory affordability continue to plague potential buyers. And that, that's, we saw so many people listing with aspirational sales prices. There were so many that were listing and saying, yes, this aspirational sell price will go. And it did, and it sold. And then their friend down the street said, well, if they sold $50,000 over, then we're going to put our starting list price $50,000 over.
Yeah.
And,
you know what?
and that worked, and they sold.
Yeah.
And then 2 years down the road where we are today, you list it for 20,000, 50,000 over, and you're going to sit. And that's a very big difference from what we've previously experienced.
Right.
Let me display this and go through it real quick. So there's a lot of numbers in this. You guys can find this if you just go to the Black Knight website. The seasonally adjusted Black Knight home price index hit a new record high in May, with a pullback in prices late last year having now fully reversed itself. 27 of the 50 largest markets, primarily in the Midwest and Northwest, have returned to their prior home price peaks or set new highs this spring, making it the fifth consecutive month of gains. May's 0.7% seasonally adjusted monthly increase equate to an annualized growth of 8.9%, suggesting a coming inflection in annual home price appreciation. I think there was a quote I wanted to get to in this one too from Black Knight. Austin was kind of an odd man out on this one. While home prices were well below their peak levels across the West and many Pandy boom towns, price firming in recent months has begun to close gaps. Austin, Texas, remains a notable exception. Inventory there continues to run above the pre-Pandy levels, putting downward pressure on prices, which have fallen 13.8% below peak. So there was a commentator that talked more on this report from Black Knight, and they suggested that the problem in Austin and the reason why you're seeing that kind of as an outlier, especially in Texas, where home prices are actually going down, they said that a lot of the home buyers that are going to Austin are younger, and a younger home buyer has a lower average price point and you have all these very expensive homes that are for sale that are not selling, so they're dropping their price. And then you have the median is moving down because you have people searching in a lower price point, kind of like the quote we just read about the guy in Portland, Oregon, that said people are having bidding wars in the 500s instead of 700s. However, in places like Florida, you see the reverse happening where the prices are increasing and the average home price and the median home price are going up. But in Florida, you have a lot of older people with money looking to move. And so they're buying more expensive or bigger homes in Florida versus the cool kid population that's headed to Austin.
Yeah, Austin's where we stick all of our immature people anyway.
Says the Dallas. Is there like a Dallas, Austin, Houston rivalry that happens, or?
Yeah, we're all better than them.
Nice.
No, seriously, I'm at the age now where I have that get off my lawn feeling all the time. Like
all the time. Jay didn't spend very many nights on 6th Street, I don't think.
No, I have been there.
You have been there?
Once.
Nice.
And
you ride the
I
bull?
was like, no, but I went,
Okay.
I was at where was I? I was at a curator convention.
Curator, yeah. I was
Curator
say,
Excellence in Austin. Yeah. And did you go to that dueling piano bar place?
Oh, yeah, that was cool.
Yeah, that was fun. But I will tell you, when I was walking back to the hotel, and I don't drink, for the record, I do not drink at all. But I'm walking down 6th Street with some friends back to the hotel, and it was like Night of the Living Dead. And I'm like, let's get a tattoo, man. Anyway, so yeah.
Oh, that's so good.
God bless you,
That was
Austin.
fun times, man. I remember most of that night.
I remember all of it.
No, that was some fun, man. We need to have another excellence conference.
Yeah.
That's
Let's go, Jimmy Mackin.
Yeah, come on, Jimmy. We always talk about kind of where we met, and I thought it was at a Tom Ferry conference, but it was a curator party that you threw.
Right. Yeah, I was hosting an event in my room for all curator clients at the Tom Ferry Summit, and that's where I met you and your wife.
Yep.
Yeah, that was cool.
Yeah, that was fun times. Carrie.
Hey, Ray, read the last chat, Ray.
Are you chatting? Sorry, guys. If y'all are chatting in the in the clubhouse, I apologize.
Come on.
It's too much to look at over there.
Yeah.
You're
Carrie,
ignoring them.
as in other words, Jay
Good
loves
to you, Armando.
Let's see. It says, is anybody paying attention to the chat? I feel this is Armando. No one is paying attention to the clubhouse chat. We're really using YouTube for most of the chats because I can't display your chat from Clubhouse on the screen. So you don't get the privilege of doing that. What's the last one you sent? Curmudgeon.
Oh, yeah.
Curmudgeon Dallas old fogies is what he said.
Yeah. You youngsters.
Carrie says, your marketing gal
Yeah.
says, in other words, Jay loves 6th Street.
Yeah. Yeah. No, seriously, Carrie keeps me real. She's a millennial, a proud millennial. And because of her, I love millennials. And she's also been with me 10 years. And true story, here's another story. She was only supposed to work for me for 6 months. She was in between gigs and I needed some help. And she's been with me now 10 years. Isn't that great?
Wow.
And she's
Yeah, that is
responsible
great.
for all of our marketing, our websites, anything you see go out on social. Carrie has a hand in that and directs it. So she does a wonderful job. And she's a friend of yours too, Ray.
Yeah. I mean, you shouldn't talk so highly of her because, now that people have seen her comment on Facebook, she's going to get some people saying, oh, you work for Jay? Do you want to wear a t-shirt?
Exactly.
So Matt Lamar says, so his shirt will say the 0.1% crowd. Yeah.
Yeah, that's me. I own that market.
Let's talk about inflation. It's been the hot topic for years now that inflation was coming. And they knew that when they were lowering the rates to 0, I guess 2 years ago. We all took advantage of that and people bought houses and widgets and all kinds of stuff. And the economy continued to expand despite the pandemic happening. Well, there was comments, I guess, 6 months ago from the Fed that said they misread that. And they probably should have not raised rates so low and kept them so low so long. And they've been trying to make up for that. Whenever the Fed raises rates, it's going to contract the economy. It puts less money into the hands of small businesses or large businesses that want to expand and grow. And so anytime you see that, you will see more job loss. It's just a natural expectation of it. So nobody should freak out whenever you see a jobless number go up, because whenever you see people lose their job, there's less people that order stuff. And if there's less people that order stuff, then people can kind of leave their prices the same. So this report is from CNBC. It says inflation rose just 0.2% in June, which is less than expected, as consumers get a break from the price increases. Now, Canada this week, I was talking to Olivier before the show. Canada raised their Fed funds rate. I don't know what it's called. I guess it's the bank rate of Canada. They
Bank
raised
rate
that.
A.
Yeah, the maple rate. Well, for the show purposes, we'll call it the maple rate. So the maple rate went up in Canada 25 basis points, and they had 4 months where they didn't do anything, or four meetings, or 4 months where they didn't do anything. I'm not sure which one. And so they just raised it 25 basis points. There's speculation that the Fed is going to continue to raise rates. They even kind of came out and hinted at it, pretty hard hint, saying that we anticipate raising rates 2 more times before the end of the year. Where do you think the Fed is going?
Me?
Yeah.
Hopefully to hell.
Spoken like a true Texan. That's very Texas of you.
You're welcome. No, seriously. I mean, the CPI report came out this morning showing inflation was below expectations. I think people are adjusting. I personally think they're going to notch it up another quarter point, at least one more time for sure. But I also think that the mortgage interest rates are going to kind of drop a little bit, because first of all, think about it. You can't go down to 0. And they did or almost. And you also can't go up to 13. You got to get out of the extremes. I think, remember, I always look like a dolphin going through the water. I do think it's going to stabilize a little bit. I think people are going to be able to take advantage and refinance. I heard a really stupid marketing thing that said, what's it called? Date the rate and marry the house, or something like that. Where people, it's like, just get the house, which I get the concept of, but I do think people are going to refinance when the rates get down, and people are going to come out and buy. And think about it. That's happened your and my entire career. You see people do a 0.5% adjust down, they go refinance. How many times, Ray, have you gone to list a house and seen they had 4 or 5 mortgages on it in the 8 or 9 years they owned it? They're always refinancing.
Yep. Yeah, very true.
I think what the economy, Ray, that people have not done a good job of overall is saving money. And they've probably overextended their credit a little bit, thinking that good times are going to roll. Yeah. And some of those decisions probably are proven not to be a good idea. Yeah. So it's not just the pricing, not just the pricing and the rate. I think people also need to get their personal finances in order so they can get realigned. So we need to take that into mind too. I have a client right now I'm working with, and their personal finances are in turmoil. And we're helping them. But it's a real challenge for them personally.
I wonder if that could lead to things. But on that note about the personal finances, I wonder how many real estate agents have great partnerships with financial planners and CPAs, and that would be a segment of the market to really lean on. Yeah, right. to talk to them about, because I'm working with more real estate investors than I ever have in my entire life. And it's a lot. Normally about 20-30% of our business was investors here and there, but it's almost 50% of our business right now.
Well, so real estate's a great investment.
Yeah, it's a great long-term investment. I will say that, when we were talking earlier about what we share with clients about, hey, if the rate goes down to 5.5%, then the whole market's going to explode. And again, because we still have lacking inventory, prices are going to increase. You're back to paying $50,000 over the house to get it. In that scenario, one of my clients said, well, if we buy at 7%, what if the rate never goes down? And I said, then you've bought at a recent low.
That's a great one. I'm going to write that one down. That's a good one.
If the rate goes up, if you buy at 7% and you hope to refinance in the future, but the rate goes up to 8, 9, 10, well, you're in at 7. So you're still sitting nice. The problem is if you buy at 7% and you need the rate to drop in order for you to afford the home, that's when people get in trouble. And that's why Jay's saying you need to have your finances in order.
Yeah, and you should never bite off more than you can chew. You should never spend more than you have. My dad had this saying on his countertop: people buy things they don't need with money they don't have to impress people they don't like.
Yeah.
I liked what you said earlier in the show. You said, you know what? If you qualify for 400, shop at 360.
Yeah.
I mean, seriously. And if you need to squeeze in, okay, Ray, I have a question for you. We're similar in age. Well, actually, I'm older than you. But does
So
your
much
mom and
older.
dad still live in the house you grew up in?
No.
They don't. So
So we were renters for years, and my
Oh, were ya?
parents built when I was in high school, and they still live in that house.
Right. Okay, then there you go. So my house that I grew up in, they've sold it now since my parents passed away. But I'm here to tell you, we moved in 1969 and they moved out in 2007 after they passed away.
Wow.
And it was a small house.
Yeah.
We added a bathroom, and we added a bathroom, but it was a 4-bedroom, 1-bath house. We made it work. And that's the
Yeah.
thing, that the modern buyer now does not make it work. They want to make things work for them, which I appreciate, but they do need to get their finances in order.
I think there's just a different mindset when it comes to housing than there used to be. Now there has been, and I don't know if it's going to permeate through, but there has been this mindset of always upgrading, always getting the next biggest and best. And I think the millennial generation is actually going to change that, because I think their priorities are more towards experiences and less towards things. And
Yeah, I'm
I think
also
that's healthy.
impressed.
I like that.
Yeah, I'm also impressed that the millennials are also focused on their wealth.
Yes.
I mean, they enjoyed some of the prosperity of their parents, and the millennials that I know that I've worked with, they are focusing on, okay, they're starting to think about their retirement. They're starting to think about their future.
They enjoyed the prosperity of their parents, and a lot of them got hurt when they saw their parents get hurt in 08, 09, 10. So I think they're trying to do what they can to set themselves up so if something does happen in the economy, they don't experience that.
Mm-hmm. And some of them have experienced loss, job loss. When the COVID happened, it affected a lot of people. And that's another thing, Ray. I was going to just backtrack on that inflation numbers and things like that. A lot of those numbers were skewed because we lost the entire restaurant and entertainment industry, and then we brought it back. And so it shows, look, massive job loss, massive job gain. Really?
Wow,
or are we
so
just
much job creation by the admin, right? Here's the last chart I'm going to show you on this topic, then we'll kind of go to a different there. But this is the consumer price index year-over-year percent change through June of 2023. On all items, it is down to 3%. Mm-hmm. At one time, it was in June of 2022, so a year ago, it was up to 9% on the consumer price index. So it is going down. When you take out food and energy, it's down 4.8%.
Right.
So,
and if you look at it, that's about the time things are starting to, it's really funny. No matter which side of the aisle you're on, you're going to blame the other guy. No matter which side of the aisle you're on, you're going to take credit. It's just, it's all bull crap, That's why I'm glad you and I are proud libertarians,
Are we? Let's see. Jack had a good comment that I displayed while we were talking about that. You need to sustain what you buy. What's that quote by Zig Ziglar? When your upkeep exceeds your income. Wait, when your outgo exceeds your income, your upkeep becomes your downfall.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's one of my favorites.
Yep.
Scap, what's up, Scap the appraiser? He said, real estate is now like an iPhone. You got to have the latest and the greatest. Otherwise you get made fun of. Yeah. I don't think millennials are going to keep that up though. I think they're going to go more towards experiences.
Yeah.
The other part of the millennial focus and the change, it's actually kind of made how we viewed our home change. Like we're thinking about just adding on instead of, building new. Because if we just stay here, we're in the money now because I remodeled this entire thing. There's not an inch of this home that I haven't touched. So if we add on a little bit, we're going to be overbuilt for the subdivision, but it's going to be what we need for the next 10, 15 years. And then I can buy a house on the beach and a house in the mountains and a house, in France.
And where you live, don't worry about it. So a tornado will take it out.
Just get a new one.
Yeah. And for those of you that don't know, the Little Rock tornado literally was 1/2 mile from Ray's house.
No, a quarter mile.
It took the neighborhood out right behind you, I believe, right?
Yeah.
I'm glad you're okay.
It was super close. And I still had the weirdest thing about tornadoes. They're small. It was a mile and a half wide, which is relatively big for a tornado, but the effect was small. There was like nothing in my street and immediate area. As a matter of fact, I still had a pile of leaves in the yard that didn't move, unfortunately.
Yeah.
All right. So this next report is from Redfin, and it kind of talks about, I guess, a little bit what we already talked about. Home listings, sales bounce back in Florida. Towns hit by Hurricane Ian despite increasing climate risk. Climate risk has been all the rage as they've recalculated insurance rates for floods now and look to future casting potential climate change instead of looking at historical flood rates. Well, new listings have recovered in Cape Coral in the wake of Hurricane Ian. The cumulative shortfall or excess of new listings for the Cape Coral Fort Myers metro area after Hurricane Ian are up 415. It was previously down from October through February. It was down over 400. At one point in November, it was down 900. So listings are returning to those areas, which is great. And part of the reason is what we've already talked about. The massive number of people that are moving from the coast and moving from areas, I guess, where they felt too crowded to a state like Florida that's not going to shut down. But this is interesting. Speaking of natural disasters, I'm going to show you this picture. Do you see? Oh, you're looking at the wrong one. Hang on. Boink. View this tab. Oh yeah, there. Okay, now you can see it. All right.
Just think if we were younger, we'd be faster at this.
Yeah, right. Do you see the map? All right. So check this out. You see, this is the Cape Coral area.
Yep.
122 Southwest 53rd Street is for sale, 685,000, and it is a empty lot.
Yep.
And then there's several empty lots all the way around it.
Yeah, it's
wild.
amazing. It's amazing. Yeah. I'm out.
You're out where?
I'm out on that. I'm not doing that.
You're not going to do that. You rather, what natural disasters do you have where you are?
Tornadoes.
Okay. Yeah,
Flooding.
y'all are more in Tornado Alley than I am, actually.
Yeah. Well, I'm in North Texas. You're in West Arkansas. I mean,
Yeah. So I'm in Central, but yeah.
Central. Yeah.
Let's see. We have a couple. Let me kind of limit some of these articles. I put a couple of extras on there in case we have time, but I want to be able to get you out on time.
Yeah, we got to get the Texas article.
Yeah,
I'm ready for
let's
that
bring
part.
that one up. Okay, property taxes in Texas. What's going on? Because this has been all in the news, and a lot of people that look at it. Actually, someone else sent me this and said, "What's happening with Texas taxes?" There's $18 billion in tax cut legislation. You've got a surplus, right?
Mm-hmm.
So Texas has more money than they need, and they've been arguing about what to do with this surplus, and they decided to basically give it back to the people.
Right, because we're Republicans. Anyway, okay, so until this new law passed, Ray, you got a $40,000 reduction in value if you filed for homestead. And in Texas, there are 5.72 million people have filed for homestead. Now, homestead is a constitutional right for Texas homeowners. If you live there as your primary residence and it matches your driver's license and everything, then you can say this is my homestead and you are afforded benefits. And they've raised that from 40,000 to 100,000. And now every year when the taxes they're assessing your house for your appraised value and everything, if you filed homestead, they couldn't raise your assessed value more than 10%.
Oh,
but if you owned rental property, it was game on. Whatever it is, what it is. So you could have a 30-40% increase in value. We had some radical increases in values over the last 2 years because we have, like, for example, in my county, Denton County, we have 82 people move here every single day.
Wow.
Every day. And if you want a really fun website about Texas, go to the North Texas Commission website. It's actually got some really good graphics showing all the different things that are happening in North Texas where we are, if you're really interested. But they're going to cap that for investors. Get this. Now they cannot assess their taxes more than 20% annual increase going forward. So it's going to put a lot of money back in people's pocket. We're figuring on average, some say $1,300, some say $800. So between $800 and $1,300 a year that you can save on your taxes, which is good.
So how does the homestead work? Does it basically, let's say your house is valued at 500,000, but you have a homestead. Does that mean that the value is actually 400,000
Um,
with the $100,000?
yeah, so you'd be
Is that what it
taxed on
does?
if just doing raw basic math. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's how you'd be taxed on a value
Okay.
of 400,000. Yeah.
Okay, here's the website with the details on it. It says $18 billion tax cut legislation. More than 12 billion would be allocated to reducing the school property tax rate. Tax exemption for the school property taxes will be raised to 100,000, which is what you said. And then non-homestead properties valued at 5 million and below, including residential and commercial properties, will get the 20% circuit breaker.
Yeah.
Legislation includes savings on franchise tax for small businesses. That's nice.
Yeah.
It's really going to encourage more people to invest in Texas that had kind of started looking other places because of the property taxes.
So you know what's really interesting? You said that I've had different REITs and different people that represent a pool of investors that actually had a friend of ours. I'm not going to name his name, from Tom Ferry, call me from California yesterday and say I would like to buy some properties near where the new Universal Studios park is going to be.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm like, awesome. So we're going to sell him 2 or 3 properties near there. Now, he was wanting to make them short-term rentals, Airbnbs. But what do you see a lot of cities doing right now about those?
They're limiting them big time, licensing
Yeah.
them.
I mean, think about it. I mean, I personally don't want an Airbnb on my street. I don't want 10 cars. I don't want new people every weekend. You know, I get it. But to your point, yeah, people are definitely coming to Texas. Texas strong.
Speaking of short-term rentals and Airbnbs, maybe you could get grandfathered in if you get that, kind of ahead of everyone else. But there was also a report about the Airbnb doom loop. Have you heard this?
Yeah. The overall, you know what? People have less money to spend on vacation, and that's what it is. I mean, and hotels are competing with them.
I told everyone who watches this show 2 months ago, I said, hey guys, this is happening in Airbnb. The CEO of Airbnb came out and changed their expectations. That was the first clue. Is that they're looking at traffic, they're seeing what's happening, they changed expectations. And I said, investors, if you're buying homes right now as a short-term rental, you need to lower your anticipated rent rate whenever you're doing your calculations, because it's not going to be the same. Disposable income is down. People are like, well, it's considered a staycation. Yeah, but you don't want to pay the same for a staycation as you would if you went somewhere else. So travel is down. And then the Airbnbs, the supply is crazy high.
Yep. So check this out. In Broken Bow, Oklahoma, a lot of people have heard of Broken Bow, Hochatown area, southeast Oklahoma, big resort area with cabins.
Did you say Hochatown area?
It's called Hochatown.
Hochatown.
Hochatown. It's a town.
Right.
It just became a brand new town in that little area of Broken Bow. But it's in southeast Oklahoma, beautiful wooded cabins, Broken Bow Lake, and all this amazing, amazing place to go. And a lot of my friends and family have got relative cabins up there. Point is, Hochatown, just the city of Hochatown said, you owe me 4%. The county of McCurtain said, you owe me 4%. It just, everybody's taxing on top of it. So what does that make your prices go up, and it also makes your profit go down?
Yeah, your
so you're right. The owners are hurting, and the guests are paying extra fees. You go to a hotel, you're going to pay the hotel motel tax, which is probably 3 or 4%, and that's it. Some of these,
and you're not going to have to take out your own trash at the end.
Yes, or strip the bed and all that stuff,
So Airbnb bookings dip in Austin, San Francisco, prompting the doom loop fears. There's a tweeter on this. See, this is, you have to get into the good Twitter. You have to get into the good Twitters. Nick Garrell, he's pretty good at this data analysis. He said the Airbnb collapse is real. Revenues are down by 50% in cities like Phoenix and Austin. Watch out for a wave of forced selling from Airbnb owners later this year. I don't know if it's going to cause that much forced selling. I mean, that would be a great solve to some of the supply issues. But you could see the Airbnb revenue collapse, top 10 cities. Sarenville, Tennessee, that seems random. They had a 47% decrease, 47.6. Phoenix, also 47. Austin, 46. These are the decreases in Airbnb revenue. Myrtle Beach is on there. San Antonio, Asheville, North Carolina, Salisbury, Maryland, MD, Maryland. Maryland. Nashville, Tennessee, Denver, Colorado, Breckenridge, Colorado, New Orleans, Lakeland, Florida, Seattle, Washington, Panama City, and Orlando, Florida. That's the top 15. The lowest on there, Orlando, Florida, has negative 34.8. So that's a big shift. That's quite a change in trajectory. And there was a lot of talk a couple of years ago during the pandy that people were looking at these second home sites to become their primary home because they could quote unquote work from anywhere. We are seeing some corporations start to call back their employees, but I thought that would create a situation in which more people had the opportunity to get the Airbnbs as the people with primary homes were moving out. But like you said, cities are limiting them, so it's not necessarily opening them up. But it did some. And so there is additional inventory for Airbnbs that there wasn't before. So supply is at an all-time high. Now, the CEO,
sorry, go ahead.
The CEO of Airbnb said this is all a good thing because it's going to make Airbnbs an affordable travel option for many of Americans across the U.S. But what I think that's shallow thinking, because a lot of the investors who bought the Airbnb did not set it up for affordable. They set it up to make some money.
Yep.
And if they can't make the money, they're just going to put it on the market and try to take advantage of the increase in home values they've had over the last couple of years.
Exactly. And instead of having short-term rental and all the drama with it, they'll say, screw it, I'm gonna go buy some long-term rental property.
Yeah.
And so I think real estate agents should be taking a look at all the absentee owners right now and go to Airbnb sites and look at those addresses and make some calls.
Yeah.
All right.
I've got the last article.
Okay. This has been fun, by the way.
Thanks.
Really
I'm glad you're here. You have good input. Keller Williams says the ruling could hurt its defense in commission trials. So we've been following these commission trials. There's a ruling that doesn't allow them to change the date. That's all this is. So whenever you see this headline, you're like, oh no, did they lose? They didn't lose yet. They're trying to change the date because the trial interfered with their family reunion. I'm not kidding. That was the reason. And they said,
can I tell you something?
The executives are expected to be at the family reunion and the agents want them there. And so this trial interferes with their ability to pull off the family reunion. It looks like the judge was like, no, we're not moving the date so far.
You know what? Oprah Winfrey moved her show to Texas during the beef trial back in the 90s.
Yeah.
Gary Keller can go up there and do his part remote from wherever he's going to be in trial. So hey, Gary, I'm sorry, buddy, but looks like you're going to be doing the family reunion remote style. And he has a great video department. He should be able to easily do that.
Oh yeah, that is good. I mean, he could easily do that remote.
Yeah.
That's what Apple's doing now. Their whole thing is recorded. They have the executives come out and say hi to the developers, and then everything, all the media and developers are there watching a screen, which is a recorded video, and the same thing we see on the live stream. Keller Williams could easly do that.
Yeah. All right.
And it's a better experience for all those others.
Yeah, and you don't have to travel. Problem solved. Everyone, you're welcome. Jay and I fixed it.
Jay, thanks again for joining me today, man. Where can everyone find you?
They can go to jmarksrealestate.com, the website, but follow me on Threads, Instagram, and Facebook. J Marks Real Estate. We're in the Dallas-Fort Worth area and Southeast Oklahoma. Thank you so much. And everybody, wear a T-shirt.
Wear T-shirts.
Or not.
No shirt, no shoes, no service, but surely.
That's right. Dress for success, people.
That's right. Dress for the job you want, not the one you have.
That's right.
And you guys can find me at Razorback. That's RAYZORBACK. And yes, I'm a fan of the Razorbacks because we whoop up on Texas anytime we get. So thanks, Jay, for thanks so much for joining the show today, man. I really appreciate it. I respect and admire you, man. You've been a friend to me in the industry, and I love you, bro. So thanks for coming.
My pleasure, buddy. Take care.
All right, bye, everybody. We will see you next week.